answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Brian Giles with Brian Giles MTG. Excuse me. And we're back with more Lost Caverns of Ixalan spoilers. First up, we have Tendril of the Myco-Tyrant. I think I may have covered this one already. But we'll go over it again just to be sure. So it's a green and 1 for a 2/2 Fungus Wizard. Has pay 2 green and 5, put 7 +1/+1 counters on a target non-creature land you control. Becomes a 0/0 fungus creature with haste. It's still a land. So this guy's out. You can pay the 7 mana, and he becomes one of your lands becomes a 7/7 fungus land. Ew. Next up, we have Synapse Necromage. So it's a black and 2 for a 3/1 Fungus Wizard. When Synapse Necrosage dies, create 2 1/1 black fungus creature tokens with this creature can block. So this is all part of the whole fungus deck. Next up, we have one of the special guests that's part of the box toppers. And this is Breach's Brazen Plunderer. For a red and 3, you get a 3/3 legendary Goblin Pirate with Menace. Whenever one or more pirates you control deal damage to your opponents, exile the top cards of each of those opponents' libraries. You may play those cards this turn, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. Cast those spells. He has Partner. Next up is another reprint that I'm glad to see that they brought in for these special guest box toppers in Polyraptor. So it's a beefy 2 green and 6, but you get a 5/5 dinosaur with Enrage. Whenever Polyraptor is dealt damage, create a token that's a copy of Polyraptor. This might be useful later. I took a little bit ahead of what some of the spoilers are, so hoo-ha, Polyraptor's always nice. And of course, why wouldn't they bring back the original Galta? So Galta Primal Hunger is 2 green and 10 for a 12/12 legendary Elder Dinosaur. It costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control, and it has Trample. Because Galta. Next up is an interesting artifact in Jade Seedstone. So it's green and 3 for an artifact that reads, when it enters the battlefield, distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 creatures you control. Craft with a creature for 2 green and 5. And you transform it and it becomes Jade Heart Tender. A 7/7 Golem. When it enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to the mana value of the card exiled to craft it. So if you craft that with Galta, oh look, you got 12 more life. And a 7/7 Golem. Ew. Next up, you have Waterlogged Hulk. A single blue mana for an artifact that reads, tap to mill a card, and you can craft this with an island for a blue and 3. Then it becomes Watertight Gondola. A 4/4 artifact vehicle with vigilance. Watertight Gondola can't be blocked as long as it's got to send 8. Watertight Gondola can't be blocked as long as there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard. Crew it for 1. So, not bad. I mean, you have to sacrifice an island, but you can use an island that's already in your graveyard. And you only have to crew it for 1 for a 4/4, and it has vigilance. Not bad at all. Next up, we have Mimic Vat, another one of the box toppers, or rather commander cards, excuse me. So Mimic Vat is 3 mana for a card artifact with imprint. Whenever a non-token creature dies, exile that card. If you do, turn each other card exiled with Mimic Vat to its owner's graveyard. Pay 3, tap it, create a token that's a copy of a card exiled with Mimic Vat. It gains haste. Exile at the beginning of the next end step. So you get a 1-turn copy, basically. Okay. Next up, we have Contested Game Ball. This is an interesting card. 2 mana for an artifact that reads, whenever you're dealt combat damage, the attacking player gains control of Contested Game Ball and untaps it. Pay 2, tap it, draw a card, and put a point counter on a Contested Game Ball. Then if it has 5 or more point counters on it, sacrifice it and create a treasure token. Okay, that's... I mean, this is something that would be nice in like a Commander Raid type setting. But, you know, you have to attack them and deal combat damage to them. So it's like... I don't know if I really like that, but okay, it's kind of weird. Next up, we have Giant Raptor. So, 2 green and 2 for dinosaur that reads, a 5/3 dinosaur that reads, has Ward 2 at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add 2 green mana. Well, this is certainly a very useful thing. It has some protection to protect itself. It's a decent creature for 4. You know, has Ward 2, and you get some mana off of it. Next up, we have another one of the commander cards in Thought Vessel, which is 2 mana for an artifact that reads, you have no maximum hand size, and tap it to add a colorless mana. Okay, next up, we're going into some of the commander cards. So we're going to actually see what the commander decks kind of look like. And this is Stormfleet Negotiator. So a blue and 2 or a 2/2 Siren Pirate with flying. It has Parlay. Whenever Stormfleet Negotiator attacks, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, create a map token. Then that player draws a card. Okay. Again, this is another good card for Commander Raid type thing. Of course, it's pirates, so you're raiding. So, Grim Captain's Locker, black and 3 for legendary artifact. Because tap it to surveil 1, which means you can look at the top card of your library. You can choose to put it in your hand or in your graveyard. Or tap it until end of turn. Each creature card in your graveyard gains escape for black and 3 and exile 4 other cards. Interesting. Then we have Broadside Bombardiers. Red and 2 for a 2/2 Goblin Pirate with Menace and Haste. Has Boast. Interesting to see a Boast in this set, but sacrifice another creature or artifact. Broadside Bombardiers deals damage equal to 2+, and sacrifice permanent mana value to any target. Oh! So you can sack a creature or an artifact and use that mana value to 2+ that mana value to any target. Any target. Hoo-ha! Next up, we have Arm-Mounted Anchor. 3 mana for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has Menace. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard a pirate card. Equipped for 2. This ability costs 2 less to activate if you have 1 or few cards in hand. Okay, so, this is going to be, something you want empty hands to move it around. This is definitely something useful. Then we have what I believe is going to be the one of the commanders for this set, in Don Andres the Renegade. A blue, a black, and a red for a 4/3 vampire pirate. Each creature you control but don't own gets +2/+2 and has Menace and Death Touch and is a pirate in addition to its other type. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell you don't own, create 2 tapped treasure tokens. Ew. So this deck is literally about stealing stuff. It's literally about being a pirate. Next up, we have Gem Cutter Buccaneer. A red and 3 for a 1/3 Orc Pirate Artificer. Whenever Gem Cutter Buccaneer or another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, create a tapped treasure token? Pardon me. Treasure you control are equipment in addition to their other types. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Equip pirate for 1 or equip anybody else for 3. Ew! Oh, that's dirty! So, you create treasures, and then your treasures become equipment. Oh, this card, look out for this card. This card is way OP, especially in like a Prosper treasure deck. Oh. Next up, we have Skeleton Crew. So it's a black and 3 for a 3/3 skeleton pirate. Each other creature you control that's a skeleton or a pirate gets +1/+1. And whenever 1 or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black skeleton pirate creature token. This ability triggers only from the battlefield. And pay a black and 5 to return Skeleton Crew from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is another OP card that pairs with that skeleton enchantment we saw earlier. More skeleton love. So Not only is this a skeleton pirate itself, it's a skeleton pirate lord, which means it gives all your skeletons or pirates +1/+1, and it creates one when cards leave your graveyard. Oh. So, especially with that escape card that we saw is and you can return this from your graveyard to the battlefield tap. So you can, yeah, this thing is just wicked. Next up, we have Francisco Foul Marauder. So it's a black and 1 for a 0/1 bird pirate with flying. Francisco Foul Marauder can't block. Whenever one or more pirates you control deal damage to a player, Francisco explores, and it has partner because it's an evil, crazy bird, pirate bird. Wind the sails, rock. Next up, we have the vampire commander in Carmen's Cruel Sky Marcher. Pause for the cause. And we're back. Sorry about that. Had a little bit of some issues there. We have Carmen Cruel Sky Marcher, which appears to be the commander for one of the commander decks for this. So it's a white, a black, and 3 for a 2/2 legendary vampire soldier. He has flying. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Carmen, Cruel Sky Marcher, and you gain a life. Ooh. Sack type deck, and you gain life and get +1/+1 counters. Whenever Carmen attacks, return up to one target permanent card with mana value less than or equal to Carmen's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, that's some worthy shit there. That's some good stuff. Ooh-ha. Okay, we have March of the Canonized. So it's 2 white and X for an enchantment that reads, when March of the Canonized enters the battlefield, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, if your devotion to white and black is 7 or greater, create a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. Ew. So a devotion. Okay, next up we have Charismatic Conqueror. A white and 1 for a 2/2 vampire soldier with vigilance. Whenever an artifact or creature enters the battlefield untapped under an opponent's control, they may tap that permanent. If they don't, you create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. Oh, that's sturdy. You're just creating creatures to sacrifice in this deck. Okay. Next up, we have Elenda's Hierophant. So a white and 2 for a 1/1 vampire cleric with flying. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Elenda's Hierophant. Whoopsie! When Elenda's Hierophant dies, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink where X is its power. Oh. Even killing this thing is bad. And this thing is a target. Whenever you gain life and put counters on things, Yeah, that thing. That's the staple of life decks. Okay, next up we have Redemption Choir. So this is 2 white and 2 for a 3/3 vampire cleric with lifelink. Has Coven, so whenever Redemption Choir enters the battlefield or attacks, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, return target permanent with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's absolutely crazy. We're all about the lifelink and returning stuff from the graveyard to the battlefield. Well, we're over 20 minutes now, so we're gonna end the video right here and see you on the next video.